Hi everyone, it's Miranda here. Just warning that this episode contains talk of addiction and suicide, and honestly, it's quite a sad episode for us. So grab a tissue. This is Talk 90s to Me, where we carve out a brilliant career as a charismatic TV presenter, prolific author, and all the medals flirt, where we hide our pain and our intelligence beneath our frou-frou fashion sense and megawatt charm, where we leave our rock star husband for another, more famous rock star, where we are hounded by paparazzi through terrible personal tragedy, and where our awful turmoil leads to our own early death. I am Miranda Sawyer, and yes, this week on Talk 90s to Me, we are talking the fabulous writer, presenter, and 90s tabloid catnip, Paula Yates. And with me to discuss all things Paula, I am delighted to welcome Guardian columnist Polly Hudson. Hello, Polly.
Hello.
Okay, how do you feel about talking about Paula Yates?
Well, I feel quite excited. And sad.
Yes, it's a real mixed emotion one, isn't it? I think it's quite interesting because I was like, okay, we definitely need to do her. She's a really brilliant character. She was absolutely all over the tabloids. But because you know what happens, and that thing and her death could have been prevented, it's just really sad as well.
And the ripple effect of, obviously, her daughter.
Yeah.
It is such a sad story.
Yeah.
But you forget how famous she was.
Yeah. And how fabulous she was.
And how fabulous she was. And what a trailblazer for women. And how she lit up the screen, which is such a cliche. But looking back at a few old clips for this, I'd really forgotten how kind of effervescent she was.
Yeah.
And how she played it so well. She knew when to be smart. She knew when to be, dumb blonde. She was kind of everything. She was whatever the person in front of her needed her to be in that moment, but in a really natural way that didn't seem calculated at all.
Yeah, no, she was really, really great. Okay, so I've done weird research for this. She wrote a lot of books, including Rock Stars in Their Underpants, which Andy Warhol praised. Great books. But she's also kind of, I've read her autobiography, which is really interesting, but quite kind of devastating, and read around it anyway. I feel like before we get into her career, we should really lay the foundations of who she is or who she was, because she has a very strange background. I mean, really, really unusual and odd.
Yes.
Because I think that, the reason why I want to go into it is because I think that people just thought, okay, because she seems a bit like an archetype, which is a posh private school girl who likes a bit of rough. Do you know what I mean? And she really wasn't that. She has this really weird childhood. She's born in April 1959. She's the only daughter of Stars on Sunday presenter Jess Yates and a Bluebell girl called Elaine Smith, who was known as Hella Torren and is now known as Elaine Thornton and is a writer, right? So Jess Yates was a kind of producer, and he was involved in like the early James Bond films, and he produced these mad kind of biblical epics with Victor Mature in lead roles. I mean, mad nonsense fantasy films, right? He's much older than his wife. He's 35. He meets her at a beauty contest. She's 19, right? I know. Paula Yates' mum is like this statuesque, absolutely gorgeous redhead, amazing. So they moved to a village near Llandudno. I mean, it's so nuts. They moved to this tiny village when she's 20, and they run this huge hotel, which she hates. It's called, apologies to Welsh people, my pronunciation would be terrible, Dyganwy, I think, Castle Hotel, right? So she has to run it all because he's basically what is then called a manic depressive. So he suffers from bipolar. And because of that, he's given various drugs, including lithium, which does calm him down. But it means that he's basically like kind of a zombie for most of the day. And then when the lithium wears off, I'm really sorry about this because it is funny. He plays Wagner until 4 o'clock in the morning on a Wurlitzer organ. I mean, it's mental.
Yes. I mean, it's not your average childhood.
No. I mean, it's really kind of weirdly gothic. Like they're in this hotel, they move to this huge house that is completely filthy, that's never cleaned. And Paula is born and is like her dad is very devoted to her, but thinks that something really bad is going to happen to her. So when he's in the house and she's in the house, she has to sit in a box while he's playing the Wurlitzer.
Now, I read that a few times, sat in a box. Yeah. It's not a sentence you read every day. No. She sat in a box. I mean, it's comical. It's also...
It's child abuse?
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah. It's really awful.
Yeah. It's like, it was a different time, a time of child abuse.
Yeah, exactly. She literally has to sit in this box while she's very, very young. And later on, she has nightmares about somebody putting the lid on the box.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just really awful. Anyway, she is scared of her dad, I would say, because of these situations. Yeah. And she's devoted to her mum, but at a certain point in her, when she's still quite young, her mum basically thinks, I can't handle this, and goes off to create her own career, which one might think fair enough, but at the time she doesn't take her with her. And so Paula is... Every time her mum comes back, is incredibly needy, as you would be as a small child, will sleep outside her mum's room. I don't think her mum and dad were sleeping together, so they were like outside her mum's room like a little puppy waiting for... I mean, it's just absolutely...
I mean, you can see the sort of damage being done.
Oh, my God.
It's just cards being dealt for everything that would transpire.
Yeah, and she kind of throws herself into... Because they have so many weird things in their house, he's constantly... One of the things her dad is constantly doing is, she says in her autobiography, is smashing the telly. So what will happen is that he sees something on the telly, he hates it, he smashes it, but then he just goes around like in another room and replaces the telly because he's got loads of tellies. Like, it's nuts. It's a nuts childhood. And she goes and sits in another kind of small building where she has copies of Vogue and old copies of an American magazine that had that Norman Rockwell pictures on the front, which is essentially beautiful families.
Perfect families.
The perfect families. Yeah. And these are her escape. This is where she goes to in her head. I mean, you know, it is she writes about it really hilariously in her autobiography because she is a very funny person. But all the time I was reading, I was like, oh my God.
Wow, yeah.
This is just awful. And she goes to school, and of course she goes to school, she's immediately designated a weirdo because she comes from such a weird background.
I mean, fair enough.
Exactly. And she is like teased and humiliated, and she's anorexic at 8.
Wow.
And she's hospitalised for it. I can't. It's really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And then essentially when she's around 11 or 12, her dad's career kind of starts again. And, you know...
As it would. Why would anyone not employ...
a guy who likes to play the Wurlitzer in the middle of the night?
With his child in a box. I mean...
kicking the toe
available for hire. Fighting off the offers.
But he was.
But he was. Of course he was.
He becomes an executive and star with Yorkshire Television, and he produces and presents shows he produces shows like Junior Showtime, but he presents Stars on Sunday, which is this mad show where really cheesy stars kind of talk about God and sing songs. It's really odd. It's a very weird thing. Anyway, he's the presenter. He becomes very famous, right?
Right.
So Paula and her mum leave. They go to Malta and then they go to Mallorca. And her mum, who is incredibly attractive, moves to Malta because she sees a politician she quite fancies, and then manages to find out where he lives and kind of disports herself in front of him in her sports car, and they start having an affair.
I mean, and so it was set. She's like, this is how you get a man. You see him, you set your sights, and you go for it. And, you know, it worked for her all her life.
It's absolutely nuts. Anyway, I mean, all of her childhood is just kind of nuts. Anyway, she then at 15 is sent home to England. I don't know if we want to call that her home. But she's sent to Oxford to study for 3 A-levels in a sixth form college. She passes the exams, right? Okay. She then goes to, as you would do, telly.
Yes.
You know? Telly's designed for people like her.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
She works at Thames Television, and then she does a bit of cleaning for wealthy bachelors, and she goes to, in the evening, she goes to punk clubs, and she meets Bob Geldof. And she's still really quite young. She's, 19. And
how old is he?
He's a bit older, not a lot older, not awful older, like you maybe 24, 25.
Okay.
And Bob Geldof at the time is in the Boomtown Rats, which were a band that were, I mean, they're called punk, but they're not really punk. They're kind of new wave, I would say. They're like pop new wave. And they have two huge hits. One is I Don't Like Mondays, which is massive. And this is kind of just pre that. She's hanging around with him. She hangs around with him so much that the rest of the band call her the Limpet because she's devoted to him. And she decides that this guy is her man. And she kind of campaigns to get him.
Yeah.
And there's an element of that is amazing. And there's an element of that I find incredibly heartbreaking.
Yeah, but you can see how she's looking for her escape. She's looking for her Norman Rockwell painting, ending, happy ending, family ending. I mean, odd that she chooses kind of a punk rocker to go with, not famously the most stable.
No, but there's also like a kind of anti-establishment element to him. And Bob Geldof is really, I have to say, I've interviewed Bob Geldof. He's really charismatic.
Right.
Like as of course she is. Like he's like a force of nature. Like when I interviewed him, I felt like that, the advert, the old tape advert where your hair is being blown back like that. Like he's like that.
It's so funny because you don't think of it in this context. You don't think of him like this. He's kind of the villain of this story, if you will, although eventually comes good in a really heroic way.
Yeah.
But he's the, I mean, although we're not at that point yet, spoiler alert, he's the husband she leaves.
Yeah.
And, the thorn in her side.
Yeah, and I think what it is partly is, honestly, he's hugely charismatic and he's also massively anti-establishment. And like he was known so he kind of grew up in Dublin. He had a difficult background himself. His mum died when he was really young. His dad was never around. He was essentially brought up by his sisters. Right. But very, very early on in the Boomtown Rats career, he goes on to kind of national television and absolutely berates the Catholic Church. There are nuns in the audience and he berates them. And it's like a call to arms.
Right,
like
okay.
It's absolutely massive within Ireland. And there's something about him that is that. So I can see that, he is charismatic.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, without a doubt. And he's also very sure. And if you're somebody who provides a kind of security, if somebody's saying we're doing this and we're doing it now and this is how it's going to be done, you're like, great.
Yeah.
Like, thanks. I don't have to make any decisions. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of what he was for her. Like two whirlwinds. And anyway, they are together, they stay together, and she embarks on a different kind of career. One of the things that Bob Geldof always did with her was he would tell her, I mean, I think partly because, he was known for being quite tight with money, that he wanted her to have a career. But I don't think it's like, he wanted her to bring into the money into the household. But also I just think he thought, look at her.
Yeah, yeah.
Why would this absolutely brilliant woman not have a career?
Yeah, you did get the sense that he wasn't threatened by her, by her success, by her anything. He wanted her to fly.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely that. And she because of her dad had been this presenter and Stars on Sunday, one of the first things she did, to be honest, is actually pose for Penthouse, because it's like, daughter of Sunday religious Sunday guy kind of thing. But she makes money, and she gets a column in Record Mirror as a music journalist, which is really good. And then she writes rock stars in their underpants.
Writes.
She does write it. She writes it. She takes all the photographs herself.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. She goes
I take
around,
it back. I retract.
She goes around and she takes it quite often on kind of Polaroids. I think this is why Andy Warhol likes it. He describes it, this book, which is published in 1980. He describes it as the greatest piece of art in the last decade. Which I absolutely love.
That is brilliant.
And he requests a signed copy, which he treasures forever. Isn't that amazing?
Also, I saw her doing an interview about it, and they were saying, why this book? And she just says, I wanted to see loads of rock stars in their underpants.
Why not?
So I did this. And you're like, yep, fair enough.
And also she's got the kind of access because Bob Geldof is, a door open into, also, she's friends with Duran Duran and and U2 and, lots of kind of people via that, but also because that's who she's knocking around with and she's an incredibly seductive and charismatic person. Yeah. Really.
I imagine she would have been hard to say no to.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I mean, look at her. She's so charming.
Yeah.
She really is. I mean, they're both charismatic, but Bob Geldof is like a force and she's just incredibly seductive.
Yes.
She's like amazing with people, I think.
Yeah.
She's like known as flirting with everyone. Somebody said that in one of the things that I read that she like flirts with men, she flirts with women.
Yes.
She flirts with kittens.
Yes.
She flirts with like anything.
Yes. Tables. Yes. Anything. Yes.
Anything.
Completely. You can really see that and get a sense of that. Yes.
Yeah. And she did. So other things she did like commercials. She does one for Ford. She does one for non-alcoholic wine alongside Oliver Reed.
Because she was famously teetotal in those days, which is at odds with how things went. But also, and stay with me here, she was almost the Kim Kardashian of her day. She's a brand. She's not pigeonholed. She's doing so many different things. There are so many different products. Didn't she? She did underwear or something.
Yeah, she did. Like later on, she definitely does a fragrance.
A fragrance, exactly.
Which is like, it's pre-Britney.
Exactly.
She's forging away.
And that wasn't what people did. And so many of the interviews, people are trying to say, but what are you? But what are you? And she's saying, but I'm all these things.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I do think at the time, I mean, this carried out right all the way through the 90s, that you were told to kind of stay in your lane. Yeah. And it was very weird even for like Bob Geldof to say, I think we should be doing some charity work. The only reason why he was allowed to do that was because it was still a record.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he kind of moved into another world. But she was doing so many different things. She really was a funny writer, like a great writer.
Yes.
And she's obviously incredibly attractive. She's
intelligent.
got her own style.
Yes.
And she's a brilliant interviewer. So she's lots of different things, really. But I think that, you're right. People wanted you to be one thing. Like, why can't you sing or something?
Yeah.
Like, something that we understand.
We don't know what to make of you, and we can't take it in that a woman could be at home being a mother, but also photographing a rock star in their underpants and also, telling us, writing a funny column about something completely nothing to do with either of those things.
Yeah.
It's like a woman having 3 thoughts simultaneously.
Unbelievable.
What the hell?
I'm dyeing her hair at the same time and being attractive. What is going on? So the first time I really come across Paula Yates, I mean, this is all pre-90s, but I care not. We need to set the scene. Is in when she presents The Tube.
Right.
That's 1982 to 1987, right? She is completely great. Honestly, I mean, both her and Jules Holland are completely great. At the time, it's like live show that's done in Newcastle, which is quite important, and they have bands on. So it's like the bands have to go up to Newcastle to be filmed, which is quite unusual at the time.
Yeah.
And it was like the hip is so unhip, isn't it? But anyway, I don't really know what to say. The cool kind of music show. And there was nothing like it before. Everything that came afterwards, everything that came in the 90s, like The Word and everything, that was really based on The Tube. And the two presenters were so unusual. So Jules Holland's very dry. Now he's a national figure, isn't he? But like at the time, he was very unusual, kind of dry. And she was just this immensely gorgeous, funny, perky, blonde, who was really good at her job. And like she would do really funny things. So like sometimes she would just get it wrong. And like I remember her once doing an interview. I can't remember who it was with. It might have been Sting or someone. And she got hot in the studio, and so she started taking her jacket off, but her microphone was on her jacket. So her voice would kind of go off. But she looked absolutely great, and she was really good at, it's quite hard to be a telepresenter. I've done it. It's really difficult.
Was she
was
really
good
on that show?
She was pregnant with Fifi.
That was quite unusual.
Yeah.
On like a hip, if we're going with that, young music show for someone to be not hiding away pregnant, but just like, yes, I'm pregnant and also able to do a job. Yeah,
and also like kind of being pregnant dressed in kind of tulle.
Sexy,
do you know what I mean? Like she looked kind of amazing. She had this blonde hair that was at the time, it was quite 80s. It was very bleach blonde, and it was kind of swept up at the back and stuck up in the air.
Yeah.
And she would tie like little rags around it, quite banana armory. And she would wear, it's quite Lily Allen, I have to say. She would wear gowns that would almost look like 1950s ball gowns. She didn't wear trainers, but she was kind of playing with an old idea of conventional beauty with that normal Rockwell idea of what a mother should look like.
Yeah.
And she looked like a punk version of that. She wore kind of 2 big jackets. She looked great.
Yes. She was always so stylish and red lips and just a look. You knew who it was if she passed by in a blur.
Yeah.
She had...
Yeah, that's true, actually.
When you say her name, you think of it.
Yeah. And I think that what happened with that was, like, for me, I just thought it was amazing because it hit my, the right time in my life when I was interested in music, and it just seemed really fantastic. But if you, as a presenter who looks like that and is interviewing pop stars, you have to remember that at the time, the proper presenters would always look down on that because they would see it as not serious, as something to be sniffed at somehow. Yeah. So even if you're really, really good at that job, which obviously she is, it's not a serious job somehow. In a way, like now I think it would be taken a lot more seriously, but back then it really wasn't,
she made it look effortless.
Yeah, that's
true. That was the problem. And of course it's not. And we've all seen people do it really badly and then you appreciate the skill. Yeah. But she just rocked it. She just breezed in.
Yeah, she was really, really good. Anyway, so while this is going on, the Tube is 1982 to 1987. She has Fifi must be 1983. There were other things that happened. 2 major things that happened is Live Aid, 1985.
Yes.
Obviously organised by her husband, Bob Geldof. She is involved in it. Like, if you watch any of the documentaries about her, she's there all the time.
Yeah, for it's Charles and Diana and Bob and Paula together. That's such an iconic foursome.
Yeah, isn't it? And it's also really funny because later on, obviously, there's a kind of very famous quote where she bumps into Lady Di, Princess Di, in a kind of shop in Kensington. And Diana says to her, well, the thing that's really great about you is that if I see you on the front cover of the tabloids, I think, I've got a day off,
the parallels between them.
Oh, don't worry. We will start crying.
Big marriage that we were massively invested in that then breaks down. Even their hair sort of vaguely similar.
It's like a punk version.
Yeah, it's like a punk Diana.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's obviously very, very huge. Live Aid, and Bob Geldof and Midge Ure and everyone involved in it should be congratulated. I know we think of them all as white saviours now, but they raised absolutely loads of money, and I think that's amazing. Yeah. Anyway, they also get married. They get married in Vegas, and then there's kind of there's another wedding here as well. And there's a kind of very famous, quite iconic photograph of her, and she's wearing it's great. It's like lace. It looks like a normal wedding dress, but it's bright red.
Yes.
So cool. And then she's surrounded by men. Because, of course, she's Paula Yates.
Yes.
So there's like Bob Geldof looking back, Bob Geldof. There's like every member of Duran Duran and Midge Ure and like stuff like that, like Bowie and people like, it's a really great photo, isn't it? And she looks like she's having the time of her life.
Well, it's like, it's marriage and it's a conventional thing, but I'm doing it my way. I'm doing it on my terms and I'm doing it in my style.
Yeah.
She made something sort of boring and traditional, cool and exciting and almost sort of rebellious.
Yeah. Yeah. And she wanted to get married. She's very keen on getting married. And there's a big aspect to Paula Yates, which is that Norman Rockwell side. So she wanted to be married, she wanted to live in a lovely home, and she wanted to give her children a lovely, lovely childhood. And that would involve, she invested loads of time into Christmases and would make them as sparkly and as beautiful as she could do. She was always dressing her girls in very cute little... matching kind of like quite very feminine little outfits.
Like Victorian chocolate box children.
Yes, exactly like that. There's an investment in that belief of family. And she's still relatively young to having these children, having her children. It's interesting to me because I think that if you characterised Paula, like if you called her something different, if you called her an English eccentric, which is what she is.
Yes.
People would maybe have a bit more time for her, but because she's not like posh. If she'd been posh, I think she would have been given maybe some of that status, you know?
Yeah, because she was criticised from all angles at all times. I mean, obviously it got worse after the marriage ended, but it felt like, you know, when you look back to remind yourself of what that time was like, there are very few pieces praising her or people praising her, or not even praising her, appreciating her. It's very much, and maybe, you know, it's more controversial, it's more interesting to have a kind of hot take on everything she's done wrong, but goodness.
Yeah. She's not hardly doing anything bad.
I mean, by today's standards.
She's fine. She's married.
Yeah,
she's got kids.
exactly.
And she's got a career.
Exactly.
It's pretty good. Boo for you.
Down with that kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. The thing that I thought that was quite nice when you watch some of the interviews, the ones that are really sweet are actually with Terry Wogan. He's always really nice to her.
Yes, they were good. And she teased him and he obviously loved it.
Yeah.
They had a nice dynamic, didn't they? And you sort of forget how massive he was 3 times a week, wasn't he, in his day? So, yeah, that was a big deal for her to be on there and to be on there so regularly and to be almost his kind of grandfatherly approval.
Yeah.
Hopefully that did some good in the opinion polls, but I don't think it did.
I just think people just don't like women at so.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't like
whatever makes you think that.
Yes, exactly.
Especially an outspoken woman.
Yes, a free-spirited woman. That's the problem. If you're doing it, the other thing that she did come into kind of a bit of a stick for was that she, because of her childhood and because she had young children, she really believed that you should be with your children a lot, and she would say that.
Yeah.
And she breastfed like for a long time, and she was very anti the idea of kind of like let your child cry out.
Yeah,
sort of thing. She was very anti that, and I think people thought that was maybe she was speaking from a privileged position. I think, you know, because she had a nanny and all that.
Yeah, yeah. And I suppose they weren't expecting that from her, like quite a traditional. Well, what she was saying was feminism means choosing, and for me, it's important to be a really hands-on mum.
Yeah.
And I think feminists felt a bit betrayed by that she should have said, you know, I'm just going to have my kid and throw it into
a kid farm.
Exactly. And like give it a frying pan and some fish fingers and get straight back to work.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm still me. And she was saying, I am still me, but I'm doing this now for a bit. And that's okay.
We are now coming into the 90s. I know. I'm aware that we have taken quite a while, but I feel like we needed to kind of, you know, set her up.
Yes.
Okay. In the 90s, the big thing that happens during the 90s at the beginning is the Big Breakfast.
Yes.
And the Big Breakfast is like a big thing in the 90s. Full stop. Like, let's face it. It's a new show, a new breakfast show for Channel 4, and there are loads of like different bids for it. Like 30, you know, a lot of different kind of companies are bidding for it. But Bob Geldof's company, it's not just his company, it's run with other people, Planet 24, wins with their proposal. And that is The Big Breakfast, which is obviously hosted by Chris Evans, who, you know, is an incredibly talented presenter. I have my own problems with Chris Evans, but, you know, like, he's a great presenter.
Yes.
Like, he's undeniable on The Big Breakfast.
On The Big Breakfast,
really, really good.
He really was.
He is amazing. And weirdly, the pilot is actually shot in quite a lot of it is shot in Bob and Paula's house.
Oh, right.
Because it's like a pilot. Do you know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then they have an interview section which is hosted by Paula, and it's in bed with Paula, you know, and it's a big bed, quite a big circular bed, and you get really properly famous people on there. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, Kylie Minogue, you know, like proper. She always said she would never interview somebody who's less famous than her. She's so cool, Mum.
It's so brilliant because on the surface of it, it's her playing into her, I'm flirty, you're in bed with me. But there's obviously, you know, for therapists, they get you lying on the couch and you are much less guarded. As with everything with her, there's a little edge in there where she's like, I'm not as stupid as you think I am. And she did get great stuff out of people.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's a great interviewer.
She's really great. And also there's loads of kind of like, because it's the 90s and the 90s is like certain elements is a bit like a throwback to the 70s, you know, because everybody grew up in the 70s. There's loads of innuendo.
Yes,
do you know what I mean?
Of course. I mean, they're in bed.
Yeah. But it does really well. And I do think, like, if you were to go to YouTube and watch a lot of those interviews, they're really good.
Yeah.
She's really, really good at it. There's something about her. She gets to the kernel of what is people think about that person. and she manages to ask the question that the viewer would want you to ask, but in a charming manner. So like I watched one with Tori Amos, and she says, people think you're kind of one sandwich short of a full picnic. Or, like she's very charming.
And bear in mind, what were they, 5 minutes?
Really short.
5-6 minutes. It's
early in the morning.
Early in the morning, lying down.
Live.
To get what she got was incredible.
I mean, after she left, she leaves and she gets replaced by various people. I did a bit of telepresenting, I was asked to, as amongst loads and loads of people, to audition for a role. I think it was that role.
Wow.
I was rubbish. Like, it's really hard.
I mean,
it's really hard to do.
Who did follow? Vanessa Feltz?
So, no, first of all, it was Lily Savage.
Okay.
And then it was Vanessa Feltz. Both of them great.
Yeah,
but, I mean, I have to say,
no one's...
No, not as good as her, I have to say. But anyway, she's really, really good. And obviously that gives another kind of bolster to the kind of Bob and Paula success, I suppose, really. He's now a successful telling executive.
Was it seen, I can't remember, was it seen as that she'd only got the job because it was his company? Was there talk of that? I don't remember any.
I don't remember that. I mean, maybe, but because she was good, nobody minded.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I hope there wasn't. Maybe I'm revealing more about myself here. I'm just expecting that there probably was.
Yeah, I mean, she never got really good press, I have to say.
No.
Okay, so I feel like we should talk a little bit about Bob and Paula's relationship, in that there's been documentaries out, over the last couple of years. There was an interview that was done with Rupert Everett very recently. Basically, there were affairs going on.
Yes.
Including she had an affair with Rupert Everett, which I think, that's quite impressive.
And he was really in love with her and wanted to marry her.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very, very gay man.
I mean, what else do you need to know about her powers of seduction? And she turned a gay man straight briefly.
Yeah, I mean,
hats off.
And he was great. I love Rupert Everett, kind of full stop. But anyway, he was absolutely,
But also great. Like Terence Trent D'Arby.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Who was like the man of the time, like the sex symbol.
Yeah.
And isn't there a famous story where he's in a hotel and Bob Geldof comes to the hotel unannounced and says, "Come down and see me," and says, "Are you knobbing my wife?" And he just lies and says that he isn't.
No.
Wife,
honestly, Bob, I would say the same to Bob.
Yeah, my God.
An angry Bob Geldof I would not mess with.
No.
Because he would just deck you.
No. But I mean, again...
Or maybe not deck you. He would annihilate you with his words, I have to say.
Especially after Live Aid, he was Saint Bob.
Yeah.
And he could do no wrong. And we wanted this image of this perfect family. So everything that we know now, that there were affairs going on, that it was not, shock horror. It was not a perfect relationship.
Yeah.
Who could have guessed?
Yeah, and I think, relationships aren't perfect, are they? But they were, on one level, they were incredibly devoted to each other. They were married, they were solid. I think if some of the reading that I've done around it did seem that when it came to the kids, Paula did a lot of it.
Yes.
So she was up very, very early because she had to write columns and do the big breakfast and ensure that the kids were at school. And I think a lot of the everyday reality of the kids when they were little fell to her.
Yeah.
And that Bob wasn't quite in sync with that he slept late and he didn't really deal with any of that stuff until, obviously he did when they were older. He really, really did.
He does come good. It's so important to remember that. But that story makes me want to scream. Yeah. Like she's up writing a column with one hand, cooking breakfast with the other, and he's like having a nice lie-in.
Snoozing.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Different times.
Yes!
Anyway, so that's the kind of situation.
But they were, of the time, couple goals.
Yeah.
They were one of the couples that you thought they would never split up.
Yeah, and also it's just really not, for me, generally in life, and I'm not just thinking about them, I really like it when you have couples that have characters, that they are characters separately.
Yes.
These people are individually incredibly interesting, flawed, intelligent, kind of trailblazing. These people are interesting separately. So when they're together, you're like, this is great.
Yes.
Especially because, for some characters, if they're like that, they just have very mute quiet
Yes, exactly.
partners. You know,
Yeah.
to have two very interesting people together, I just love that.
And it makes you admire them more that they've chosen someone rather than someone that they can be superior about and I'm the star of this relationship, someone that's going to give as good as they get.
Yeah, they stimulate them.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so if you were to read things, and this is all kind of post, obviously, their breakup, Paula is not as happy as we would like her to be.
Yes.
You and me. We
Yes.
want her to be happy. She's got 3 kids. She's got a great career. She's got a lovely husband. We want her to be happy. She is not. And from about 93, there is an idea that she would like to break away from Bob, that she thinks he's... This is a quote from a book, and it's this is what she supposedly says. I do not know if she did. It says, he's the most controlling person I know. I liked it when I was in my 20s. I thought it meant that I was being taken care of. I liked the stability it brought me. Bob made me feel safe. He always knew the answer for everything. His word was the word of God. Which, so like what she's saying is that he was really certain and she was uncertain. But that can be very difficult. You know, if you change as you get older, it can be hard to deal with. And she felt, I think, from all evidence, that she felt a bit crushed.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes such sense. That is the sort of thing that you would maybe be more into in your 20s. Like, he's so sure and I'm just being swept along with him. And then once you are writing a column and making the breakfast with the other hand and he's in bed and then he's telling you how things are, don't think so.
Exactly. So anyway, she and, you know, they have both, I mean, you know, Bob too, I think, as far as I know, has had affairs. And like, so it's not, I mean, you know, people have relationships, they have affairs, whatever.
Maybe they had an arrangement, we don't know.
We just don't know. We don't know. Anyway.
It doesn't seem like anyone was being particularly discreet.
No, not really. You know, and also one of the things that Rupert Everett said, which is what drew him and Paula together, was that they both just love drama. They just liked drama and excess and like, you know.
That.
Yeah, no, it just really makes me laugh. Anyway, on their fridge, very, very famously, there is a picture of, who is there a picture of?
Michael Hutchins.
Michael Hutchins, who is the lead singer of In Excess and is known for having corrupted our Kylie and, you know, is...
And didn't Bob Geldof write on it or something?
Yeah. Well, she's, you know, I mean, to be honest, I don't mind the C word.
Excuse my language.
I don't mind.
About
like,
half
that's
an
fair
hour
enough.
after I said it. I mean, it's so succinct. What other word?
But also, that was written on it, and then I think she replaced it, and he probably wrote it on again, but then she put fairy lights around it.
I mean, again, not discreet.
No. She just thinks he's good.
Here's who I fancy.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, at some point, you know, there is arguments as to when this happened. You know, it is generally assumed that when she does an interview with Michael Hutchins on the In Bed with Paula section, which is 94, that this kicks off their relationship. I think that's wrong. I think they were having...
There are so many conflicting reports.
Yeah, I think they were possibly together before that.
People say they're together before that, and I think that's probably true, but I don't want it to be true.
Yeah, you want it to be kicked off by that.
Because there's some quote from someone that says when they first had sex, about 5 minutes after that interview. I've watched that interview. You know, sometimes you remember things from long ago, you know, very shocking, and then you see it with your 2026 eyes and you're like, oh, come on. I watched that interview and my goodness.
It's hot, isn't it?
I was blushing. It's foreplay and it's everything that we just said. It's first thing in the morning, but oh my God, their legs are intertwined, their faces are inches from each other. It is hot.
It's really hot, and she's leading it.
Oh, and she's talking about Helena Christensen, his current girlfriend, supermodel.
Yeah, we have to, like, I cannot tell you how beautiful Helena Christensen is, like, in the 90s. I mean, unbelievable. She's she's literally the most beautiful woman in the world.
But has she got Paula's spark?
Well, I don't know. I don't think that anybody...
You can see he's like, you know, he's fired up by her.
He's definitely mesmerised by her. I do remember reading a long time ago that a Jules Holland interview where he said that he was having dinner with Paula and Michael, and he was pretty convinced that they were actually shagging while they were
oh my God.
Which is pretty like, I mean, I'm like, fair enough.
Fair enough, but I don't want to be at that dinner with them.
But he's like,
good luck
he's
to them.
Jules Holland, you know what I mean? He's like, fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is an incredibly intense affair.
oh my God, the chemistry. And also, but even that, because the whole narrative at the time was he's had supermodels and Kylie, and he's, chosen, he could have had anyone, and he's chosen this like mum of three. And then you look back, she was 35. They make it sound like she was 70 and like in rollers with a rolling pin, I know, unbelievable. The sexiest mum ever. Like,
she's just gorgeous.
The MILF of all MILFs.
Yeah, absolutely. She's just completely gorgeous. They definitely have an intense affair, and it's very difficult for both of them to leave their partners. It just is. And this is your family.
Yeah. The father of your children.
The father of your children. Like, she's not an idiot. She knows she's going to be absolutely slated for it. He is with Helena Christensen. She's the most beautiful woman in the world.
He doesn't seem like a massively safe bet, does he?
No,
if you're going to leave your husband for someone.
But I just think... Sounds like the fireworks in the bedroom were quite hard to resist.
I mean, when you read that, it is, and obviously with the way it turns out, it's so Romeo and Juliet. The way she talks about it, we'd waited our whole lives to meet each other. And then we did, and it was everything we dreamed it would be and more.
Yeah, it's just, it's kind of... We're having a moment. Anyway, it is difficult because I think that in order for Paula to get the courage to leave Bob, I would say that she probably does need to think that he is going to be by her side. But that's not to say that she wouldn't have left Bob anyway. I mean, it really isn't.
Yeah,
it seemed like she had kind of got to a point where that relationship was going to end.
Yeah.
Michael Hutchins was definitely available to her, but he equally was in another relationship with somebody who was really, really nice. So it's a difficult situation. Anyway, there's all sorts of toing and froing, breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together. When they are together, they're very lovey-dovey, but he's off, being an international rock star kind of thing. Anyway, in the beginning of 95, in February 1995, there is basically a tabloid breakup. It is announced. And what had happened was that essentially, which often happens at that time, is that the tabloids had found out about Paula and Michael and that they were going to print something. And in order for that not to happen, Bob and Paula basically do a joint statement.
Yeah.
And that was going to be released to the press on the Monday. It's News of the World, so the story was going to come out on the Sunday, and it's essentially they got pictures of Michael and Paula leaving the Hulkin Hotel in Knightsbridge together, and obviously he's still with Helena. It's just, it's all a complete disaster, and it comes out. And I remember actually because there's an element of me that's completely naive, I have to say. Like, I can't help it. I am who I am. Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, oh my God. And I remember reading the story. I was like, oh.
Because they were not like your mum and dad, but they were, well, God, you wish they were your mum and dad. They were like your cool mum and dad.
Yeah.
They just seemed like they were in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
It was shocking. It is shocking. I mean, it's such a parasocial thing, isn't it? That we feel that we know them, we know the marriage, and we wanted it to be a certain way and we wanted it to last forever. And it didn't. And for it to be so messy as well, and so many other people involved, and obviously extremely painful for all involved. But also like amazing gossip. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, they do this announcement, but even then they're like, they're really not sure. And actually they think maybe we'll try and make it work again. He goes back to Helena. She goes off to Bono's house with Bob. It's like, oh my God, you've got Bono mediating. Yeah, like, so she goes off there. They also go off to Jamaica to stay in Chris Blackwell's mother's house. It's mad. Anyway, it is a bit of a disaster. And, in the kind of, lust-love affair that they have, they can't resist each other. And they end up going to this hotel, which is called Chilston. And in the Chilston Hotel, it's booked under Michael's name. They go down to have dinner, and a journalist she knows comes over to her and goes, "Do you realise that every single person in this room, other than you, is a journalist?"
But also,
I think that's a tip-off.
Booked under his name, went down to have dinner. Not the actions of people hiding particularly.
No. And anyway, so they go back up to the room. I hope to have lots of great sex.
I'm sure.
And then in the morning, they try and get up very early, and it's just paparazzi, a go-go. And in order to get to the car, Michael loses his temper and I think thumps one of them, pushes somebody over. It's just a bit of a disaster. And of course, that is like everywhere. Yeah. And the thing that's also happens at the same time, this is all published obviously in the tabloids, is literally at the same week, Hello magazine prints a double-page spread showing Michael and Helena in the south of France. They always do that, Hello, though, don't they? It's like you have a beautiful kind of shot and that's it. Your relationship is done.
Yeah, of course. The curse of Hello.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but also it played into everything perfectly because you've got Saint Bob and then you've got Michael out punching photographers, the bad boy lover.
This week's Talk 90s Queen Jennifer Sawyer. Yes, Queen Jennifer, who is, as you may have guessed, my mum, is one of our fabulous Patreon members who's decided to invest some of my inheritance in her favourite 90s pod, even though she doesn't really know what we're talking about half the time. Anyway, now, she is this week's glorious Talk 90s Queen. Thank you, Queen Jennifer. Please enjoy your hourly intake of gin and Dubonnet. And it's also a huge thanks to this week's Talk 90s King, King Brendan, who has no surname because he's royal. Thank you, King Brendan. Keep trooping the colour and rocking that bearskin beehive. If you too would like to become Talk 90s royalty, then why not pop over to patreon.com and search for Talk 90s to me for just a few pounds a month. You'll also get extras like special episodes on 90s stupid stuff and the chance to get your hands on some Talk 90s to me merch. Oh, yeah. And if you can't afford to do that, we would love you to email us. We are doing our festival episode very soon and we would love your torrid 90s festival tales. We know you have them. So why not tell us all about how you threw up onto Mark Lamar's shoes? Just email Talk90s to me at podmasters.co.uk or DM us on Instagram at Talk90s to me pod. You could also voicemail us there. Now, on with the show. Do you think we should just have a bit of a word about the tabloids in the 90s? Because it's really hard to remember how powerful they were.
Yeah.
And they kind of set the agenda for a lot of things. They set the agenda for the government quite often. They absolutely set the agenda as to who was celebrated and who was not palatable. And
yes.
they were mostly run, not entirely by any means. There were definitely women running tabloids in the 90s, but there was a very masculine feel to tabloids in the 90s, wasn't there?
Yeah. And really, I mean, the News of the World, every Sunday, it was like, whose life is going to be ruined this week? There would be someone on the front page doing something they shouldn't have been doing and being caught. And the stings that they used to do, they used to trap people. They had the fake sheikh who would get stories by hook or by crook. But also that thing that you just talked about where it's like, we've caught you. Either we're going to tell your story or you can tell your story, but your story will be told. And they outed people and terrible things.
They had a kind of really conventional idea of what life should be. So you don't split up a marriage. You can't be gay. Yeah. You can't, like it was really, really old-fashioned kind of attitudes, around, especially around women, obviously.
Yeah. But also, we have to say, they wouldn't have kept doing it if people weren't buying the papers and reading it and saying, oh, isn't this terrible that they've done this? But reading every word and hanging on every word and wanting to know the gossip and the ins and outs of people's lives and, see people built up to be knocked down, et cetera, et cetera.
She really, really gets it. It's really hard to explain how much she gets it. She gets it from women. She gets it from men. She gets it really badly.
And there are some people that you can, again, parasocially, I didn't know her, I don't know any of these people, but that you can imagine can deal with it. But it feels like she would have taken that really to heart. She's a sensitive person. She had a difficult childhood. She doesn't have that kind of self-belief from a, grounded upbringing to fall back on. And she's wronged Saint Bob. She's wronged a saint. She's a scarlet woman.
Yeah, and it's also like loads of things like, weirdly, if you split up in those situations, there isn't that much money to go around. She's constantly kind of trying to look for money as well, which is always a bit difficult. She gets sacked from the Big Breakfast.
Boo.
Yeah, because
I
Planet
didn't know
24.
that.
Yeah. She loses her job at the Big Breakfast.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, she wanted to go to The Word, which is another kind of telly show, but that's also produced by Planet 24, which is obviously him. So she was going to go as a guest to Simon Le Bon. She arrives and they just eject her out because they're like, "You have wronged our boss. You're not allowed, right?" Anyway. So she doesn't have loads of money. I just really want to emphasise that. You have a situation where she had been earning. A lot of these things are taken away from her. The divorce hasn't gone through. There's no settlement. She's got to find somewhere to live. There's a sense that she doesn't really want to take loads of money off Michael Hutchins. All that. Anyway, she goes through a kind of glam bit. She basically gets her boobs done.
Yeah.
She gets caps on her teeth. She gets hair extensions.
Oh, yeah.
And she obviously women should do whatever they want with their appearance.
Yes.
And there's a sense of freedom
Having
to
a glow
leaving.
up.
Having a glow up.
Yes.
So she gets a glow up, but these things cost money.
Yeah.
Obviously. And then quite soon after that, GQ publishes an interview with or a picture of Helena Christensen, and it says, "Would you trade her in for Paula Yates?"
God, the misogyny. And I want to say this would never happen today, but I'm afraid I don't think I can.
And no, I don't think you can. But the one thing I would say is it'd be jumped on by the internet in the way that it wasn't then. Do you know what I mean? She does, she's trying to get some money. She's trying to see what she can do. She writes her autobiography, which I would recommend. It's a really good read.
Right, I bet.
She writes it in 3 weeks.
What?
That's my girl.
Wow.
It's serialised in The Sun. She gets some money, so that's quite good. But then also she goes on Clive Anderson. He completely destroys her. She goes on Have I Got News for You?
Oh, my God.
Oh, it's awful.
I remember that at
Me
the
too.
time. That was horrible. And she even, by the end, she's saying, "Ian, stop being so horrible to me. Please, you're being really unkind."
Yeah, she calls him the sperm of the devil, which is quite funny. I mean, the thing is, I like Ian Hislop.
Yeah.
Like, I really do. Like, I think but it's so weird at that time. People are so, I don't know if it's a completely different time, but to attack a woman for her personal choices in her relationships was completely fine.
Yeah.
Like, it was like fine. And to attack her for having a breast enhancement, absolutely fine. Like, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, she becomes pregnant with Michael, which is, great. So they're about to have a lovely child. But they are in a difficult situation in terms of their relationship. We don't quite know where they're going to live. It's all a bit of a disaster. Michael appears to be having on and off things with other women. Anyway, it's difficult. I think, it's just all difficult. It's really, really,
it sounds
really
so complicated. And also, what must it have been like? She's had an affair with him she's they're meeting in hotels and it's all sexy and forbidden, and then she's cooking the dinner for her 3 kids,
Of course.
and that's not so sexy.
Yeah, I mean, apparently he was good with the kids. I mean, absolutely great with the kids, but he's also still a rock star. It's really hard to explain. He's an international rock star,
And he's younger.
Yeah, he's younger. Yeah.
And he's never been married. He's never had any children.
I interviewed him, which I will come to, and I asked him, "Have you ever been chucked?" And he went, "No." Of course not.
Yeah, of course not.
So she lands, to her credit, I mean, although people don't like The Sun, she lands at like a really big deal with The Sun. So it's like $100,000 column so that she can support herself, which is pretty good. But they go in, it's a tough legal case between her and Bob. Where are they going to live? Who's going to get the house? Blah, blah, blah. And it ends up in a really weird situation where Michael Hutchins has a house in London and Bob is still in the old house that he and Paula had, and she was renting somewhere else. And actually what happens is that Michael and Paula move into the old house and Bob moves into Michael's house. Isn't that mad?
That's so, it's very, what is it?
Well, it's kind of modern.
Modern, yeah. I mean, it's a good, but it also shows that they really did want to kind of try and work it out, try and compromise. You can't imagine many men moving into the house of the bloke who's stolen your wife.
I think good for him.
Yeah,
I mean, I
good
have to
for
say,
him,
because
totally.
also like one of the reasons why that happened was they were in court trying to decide about houses and custody and stuff like that. again, Paula was being absolutely dragged over the coals and she was in bits and crying. And Bob said, this cannot happen. We need to sort this out.
Yeah.
And so they sorted it out.
It's such a creative solution.
Yeah, exactly. It's very good. Anyway, Heavenly Hirani Tiger Lily Hutchins, she's now Hutchins Geldof, is in now today.
Yeah.
But at the time of Hutchins is born 22nd of July 1996. There's a few things that happen quite soon after that are quite difficult, but the main thing that happens is that Paula and Michael go to Australia with Tiger Lily to, I think, introduce her to his family. So it's like, that kind of situation. And while they're away, there is a drug raid on their house and drugs are found in a Smarties tube.
Yeah.
And there are all sorts of stories around this, as far as I can see. I mean, there is no doubt because I know this because he offered me coke.
Right.
Definitely Michael Hutchins took drugs, right? So did a lot of people.
Yes.
You can take drugs and have a family life as long as you keep everything apart.
But it's annoying because it's such a gift to all the naysayers to put it in the Smarties tube. It's just exactly what people.
And I don't know if it was in a Smarties. Was it in a Smarties tube? Because the case never goes to court.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
And that's the thing. Yeah, it's such a great story. It's become true, whether it was true or not. But it's the perfect analogy for. They were endangering their children.
Yeah, and there's also some photographs, and the photographs are very saucy photographs of them in black latex. I think she might have been pegging him and everything. Yeah. These are discovered, and they're then circulated and I think printed in various publications.
Yeah.
And I think that all these things,
and when you're in Australia,
there's nothing you can do about it.
Couldn't be further away.
Couldn't be further away, and there are questions as to how this was discovered, whether this was in inverted commas planted. You could have all those things and then be very, very far away from the kids, locked up somewhere or whatever. But if that happens, social services become involved, the police become involved.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to court in the end. The police are basically told to back off. So nothing happens. The CPS want people to kind of press charges and it doesn't happen. So it doesn't get to court. Anyway, it's just, that is the 26th of September 1996. And there's a custody kind of case going on at the time. And obviously...
This does not play that well.
No, it doesn't play that well. But actually, the custody situation is half and half, right?
Yes.
So that's the situation. Oh, dear. These things are very difficult. Okay, so we get to 97. In 1997, In Excess are kind of making a comeback. And I know this because I interviewed Michael Hutchins. He's incredibly fun. I cannot tell you how much fun he is. He's really great. So he's there. It's in Paris. It's with the band. The band, God love them, they're nice. They're really boring.
Yeah. What band?
I
there was a band?
I diligently interview all of them.
Oh, no.
I'm nice, Polly. It doesn't go into the piece.
I'm sure, yeah, exactly. And I'm sure they're used to it.
A little bit.
The band agree.
Yeah. Anyway, we go out for 2 nights. The first night we go out and, he's just hilarious. He literally does the can-can. He's so fun. He's a bit drunk, I would assume. Definitely he offered me coke and I said no. I have to say, on certain occasions I might have said yes, but just for whatever reason I said no. I would say, so he was chemically enhanced and he had a lighter. And the lighter was a present from Paula. On that lighter, it was a Zippo. It was engraved, "You're perfect, please fuck me."
Wow.
I know. And also, I thought it was quite interesting that he showed it me.
Yeah.
And he showed me a picture of Tiger Lily.
Oh, God, I wondered what you were going to be showing a picture of him being pegged.
It was Tiger Lily. And then he just kind of waltzed off and I was left holding this picture of the baby. I was just like, I don't want to lose it, please. But he was really social and really fun, really charismatic. Honestly, he's lovely.
Yeah.
Really lovely person. I really enjoyed his company.
Okay, good. I don't want him to be some arrogant twat.
No. He was just he was fun on a stick.
Yeah.
And anyway, we do the interview and everything. And then the next day, and he's like, okay, here, I'm going to Les Bains Douches, which is this really cool club in Paris because it's Eva Herzegova's birthday. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, do you want to come? And I'm like, Okay. And I'm like in jeans, and he was going to get changed. But he said, this is how nice he is. Because he said, yeah, come. And I was a bit embarrassed. Oh. And he was like, fine, I won't get changed then. So he was going to get changed and he didn't, so that I would feel a little bit more
He is
welcome.
an ally to women.
Yeah, he was great. And then we went to this mad party.
Wow.
Which is full of very, very tiny models who don't say anything. And sushi, which no one eats apart from me.
Because you said no to Coke, yeah.
The band. And a birthday cake that they kind of waft in and waft out. Nobody eats. But anyway, at this party, Helena Christensen turns up. Yeah.
And?
She's I cannot tell you how beautiful she is. She's ridiculous looking. She's in China blue. She looks amazing. And it is the thing that really struck me was these are human beings. So she arrives, she looks amazing. They're both kind of like, and like they are reacting like you or I would react if an ex had come in and who had left us. You know, like, so you're laughing a little bit too brightly, you're looking fantastic, have you noticed how fab I look? It's like that. And then she leaves and then she comes back and they have a very serious conversation together. I remember looking at it and thinking, she's really hurt. Like, this is people's lives. Like we're talking about it now and it was discussed in the tabloids, but these are real people. She looked pretty devastated and he was being really nice to her, but it was like, this is a real situation. Like, it's proper. There are hearts being broken.
That's such an important point, because you do forget when it's playing out in the tabloids and it's a soap opera and whose side are you on and what do you think? And you do forget that they are real people. And even in the Kylie documentary, the Netflix thing that just came out, the way she speaks about him, and he obviously led her a merry dance, shall we say, but she's still heartbroken. Yeah. But also speaking, it's not many men that, I mean, he's cheating on all these women, but they're all still speaking very highly of him. Yeah. There's something. He's treating women sort of terribly, but well. Yeah. He's good at treating them badly.
He's friends with all his exes,
That says something.
Yeah, I mean, anyway.
They were all there crying at the funeral.
Yeah, anyway, he was I really liked him. Anyway, I write this piece for The Observer and this is not my doing. Yeah. Absolutely not my doing. On the front page of the magazine that it's on, it says something like, sex god, da-da-da-da-da, so why Paula? I did not write that.
Of course not. You never write the headlines. No. Why don't people know that you never write the headlines?
And I was like, oh my God.
No.
Yeah, it's like, this is for The Observer. It's a broadsheet. Anyway.
Well, now you've had the chance to say.
It's like, oh my God. Anyway. So at the end of 97, in November, basically the idea was that Michael and Paula were going to go to Australia for Christmas. They were going to bring all three kids, meaning the kids that Paula had with Bob, over for a holiday. And Bob contested this. He didn't want it to happen because he didn't want them to be taken out of school so early. It was going to be like a 2-month job. Anyway. So have that in mind. Michael is in Sydney. He goes out. He basically goes out on the lash. Yeah. Is up till 5:30 in the morning, and then comes back to the hotel. And when he comes back to the hotel at like 5:30 in the morning, Paula calls and basically says they can't come. And the reason why they can't come is that the hearing to decide whether they can come has been adjourned to the 17th of December. It isn't a complete cancellation. Yeah. But I think that he is quite trashed and gets it in his head that it is a complete cancellation. That Bob will always, in inverted commas, win. They will never be allowed to have a kind of family situation with him and the kids, and it's a bit of a disaster.
And doesn't she say to the lawyer or someone, this will kill Michael?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. I mean, it's just really awful. Anyway, he calls a couple of old friends, and one of them is so worried about how he sounds like this is like 10 to 10. She calls his tour manager. She comes to his door. She knocks on his door. She can't get hold of him. She can't get hold of him. When she rings his room, she leaves a note at reception, and basically he is found a few hours later, and he has tied a belt around his neck and attached a buckle to a door handle and has hung himself in that way. It's really terrible. Oh my God.
Oh, it's awful.
It's just awful. It's really awful. It's just a terrible loss of a. He was it's a terrible loss of life.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
And a talent.
Yeah, and just even if he wasn't talented, honestly, he was really nice. He was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
It's awful. It makes me want to cry, honestly.
Yeah, it's horrible, and it feels like a really grim end as well.
Yeah, and it's so lonely and public.
Yeah,
and on the other side of the world from
and
undignified.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful. Anyway, Paula has a friend called Belinda Bruin, and she is told that this happens, and she goes round to Paula, and the phone is ringing, and she says, "Don't pick up." And she tells her, and Paula punches her in the face. And oh my God. Anyway, it's just awful. It's just awful. She has to fly to Sydney to identify the body. It's like a 24-hour flight.
But and P.S. every other seat on the plane is journalists, of course. Yeah. She's allowed no peace in this momentous loss. There are journalists outside her door, photographers outside her door. There was a documentary, and they showed her representative saying, just let her get in the car. First of all, let the children get in the car and be able to leave without having their pictures taken. They've just lost their stepdad. They've just seen their mum, presumably in a bit severely distressed. But also just let her get in the car to the airport. What picture are you going to get of someone in the back of the car? You can't imagine having to deal with those circumstances with everyone staring at you.
Yeah, it's just, honestly, it's just awful. Anyway, she gets there. The body is identified. There's eventually, obviously there's a kind of coroner investigates it. He says that he thinks that the cause of death is suicide by hanging. Paula insists that it's like basically autoerotic, that it's that is the situation. There is a funeral. And that's incredibly sad. Like, as you say, Paula is there, and also all his ex.
And his baby's there. I mean, God.
Oh, God, it's just really...
But also, she just sticks to this belief that he wouldn't have left her. It must have been an accident. It must have been a sex thing gone wrong, because there's no way he would have chosen to leave her.
I think that's true. I mean, whether or not it's like, you can end up in a really distressed state and, whatever, it's like a moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely can happen. But then... It's just really...
God, this has turned into quite a downer.
Oh, my God, it's just so awful. And then at the same time, literally, in December 1997, there is a DNA test that are done. It reveals that Paula Yates' dad was not Jess Yates, as she always thought, but it was another television presenter called Hughie Green, who was a one-time friend of Jess Yates, who became his rival in the 1960s. But also, the reason why Jess Yates' career had nosedived was because he had an affair with a younger woman, even though his wife was split up. Back in 1974, he had an affair with a younger woman called Anita Kay, and Hughie Green was the person who had exposed it.
Oh, I knew he hated him, but I didn't know why. Oh, God.
So poor old Paula says something really revealing. She says, in the space of a week, I've lost my future and my past.
Oh, God. She said to her mum, is this true? The papers are saying this is true. This is the case. I'm going to sue them. Is it true? And the mum said, no, it's not true. I've never slept with him. And then they did a DNA test and it was true. So also the mum lied.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. Oh. So in the space of a week, I've lost my future and my past. It obliterated everything that I thought had been me. Oh, Paula. Oh, dearie me. Okay, so this is like... I mean, it's just really sad. It's 97. She tries her best. After that, she tries her best, right?
Didn't she go out with Finlay Quaye?
She's in and out of the Priory. She's in and out of Clouds. And those are, I mean, it's for nervous exhaustion, but it has to be said it is for drugs, right? There are situations, I mean, God, I can understand it.
My God.
Whether that is like Prozac or Rohypnol or whether it's Coke or whether it's like whatever, I understand why she might be tempted in those situations.
But also, obviously she's lost the love of her life, but she must have had this sense of everyone feeling she's got what she deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, she was.
Ugh.
It's terrible. Like around that time, she sees by mistake a tabloid prints her obituary, and
they sent it to her by mistake.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and the headline is "Suicide Blonde," which is an INXS song.
Yeah.
But also, like, I think it's almost like people were waiting for her to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and she knew it.
Yeah, oh God, it's horrible. She has a bit of a torrid time.
Yes.
She's not sober at certain situations. She, you know, goes to a Prince Charles Prince Trust party in the park and she's drunk and she falls over and, you know, she's like, in inverted commas, a disgrace. And there's just a lot of toing and froing and there's a suicide attempt. There, you know, it's not great. Anyway. She does recover. She gets a house in Hastings.
Yes.
She escapes London. She writes. She starts to rebuild her life. There have been like affairs with like, you know, she went to rehab. She has an affair with somebody that she meets in rehab who then sells the story to the tabloids. Oh my God. Of course. She has a thing with Finlay Quay. You know, so it's not great, but she has definitely turned a corner. She's okay. She's doing pretty all right.
And this Hastings thing, apparently, didn't she go there with Michael and it was somewhere they could go and be anonymous and just be together? And it was kind of her refuge.
Yeah. And it's
so
by the
she started
sea.
Going there, yeah, and healing.
Yeah. Lovely, you know, nice. Really, really nice. Anyway, she comes back to London and I'm going to say this, you know, do this part quite quickly because I find it very, very sad. So it comes back to London and in September 2000, so at the end of the 90s, her friend Josephine Fairley had called her house and said she had been in a bit of a state. She'd been sick. She cleans her up. She thinks she's okay. She'll be all right overnight. She's just living there. This is in London with Tiger. It is Pixie's birthday the next day. And so Josephine calls her in the morning. She doesn't pick up. And then Tiger picks up and says, Mummy's still asleep. And then she says, Mummy's still asleep. And Josephine comes round and Paula is dead. And it is an accidental overdose of heroin. And the coroner says that it's essentially because she wasn't used to taking drugs, so she wasn't an active addict and she took too much. There is a story of a woman being in the house with her at the time who had been somebody that she'd met in one of her ins and outs of kind of addiction clinics. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just really, really sad.
Yes.
It is absolutely
heartbreaking.
Awful.
It because it feels like it didn't have to happen. That there was a time where it seemed inevitable and she had turned a corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also the irony of, you know, the judge saying if she had been using heroin all the time, this amount wouldn't have killed her.
Exactly. It was just another moment of madness.
Yeah.
You know, a moment of madness.
So sad.
Yeah. And anyway, you know, it's really, really terrible. There is a funeral which takes place in Kent, which is where Bob Geldof has a place. And basically Bob Geldof and his partner, Jeanne-Marine, take on Tiger as part of their family and bring her up. And
I mean, that is just incredible, isn't it?
And correct.
And correct, so correct, but how many people would actually do that?
Yeah, I mean...
Especially because Tiger looks like Mini Michael.
I know, she's lovely. She's so cute. Anyway, what I would say is that since then, I mean, there was the terrible tragedy of Peaches dying, which is just awful. She was only like 25, absolutely terrible, 2 kids, awful.
In such similar circumstances.
I mean,
awful.
Just dreadful. But what I would say is that the other children are doing well. They have great partners. They have lovely lives. I am very happy for them.
Yes.
You know, they had an absolutely brilliant mother, you know, and actually, you know, whether it's Tiger or whether it's Fifi and Pixie, they have brilliant fathers. They have done really, really well.
Yes.
Good for them.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely good for them.
Yeah.
But it's a really sad note to finish on.
Exactly.
But what I wanted to kind of say is that actually, if you throw forward from Paula Yates in that time, right? And I think about, there's a couple of characters that she reminds me of, right? And one is a presenter, and that is Claudia Winkleman. And that is not her character, it's how she is with people. Claudia is cheeky.
Yes.
She's quite flirty in a kind of Claudia way. She is herself. She has her own style. she's alternative, and she's successful. And there's an element of her that like is Paula, you know, that just the way she talks to people, she's quite like motherly and flirty with them at the same time,
I've
you know.
never thought about it. Yes, that makes sense.
And the other person is Lily Allen. And what I would say about Lily is that Lily has, you know, a similar desire to have a great family and to also have a career. And she has done it.
Yes.
You know, she's done it.
I like this. I like that instead of ending both crying in a heap, we're going to say this is her legacy.
Yeah.
She's paved the way for other women to be fearless and spontaneous and vivacious and live life on their own terms and be spirited and not be told what they are or what they should be. And yeah, she made some mistakes, obviously. But we shouldn't end a conversation about her being sad because
she was so great, man. Honestly,
so great.
If you go, like, you know, I would really encourage people to go and watch some of her interviews on YouTube. She's hilarious.
Yeah, and it all stands up.
Yeah.
That's the odd thing when you think, you know, 30 years ago, it really does stand up today. Those interviews could be on TV now and no one would people would bat an eyelid because...
Yeah, because she's saucy.
Yeah.
And also telly. Who watches telly?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she was great. We love her.
Yes, and it's nice to celebrate her. She was so slagged off by everyone. How nice to just sit and be like, yay, she was great. Let's not forget her. Let's not focus on the tragedy. Let's remember all the brilliant things that she did. And hopefully her daughters can get some comfort from remembering the mother that she was rather than, you know, the tabloid star that people tried to turn her into.
Okay, so here at Talk 90s to Me, we, of course, have a Talk 90s Spotify playlist to get us through the sad times and remembering the good times. Okay, which track would you like to add, Polly? You have added one before, but you know, you can have another now.
Thank you, very kind. I'm going to go with the Spice Girls, of course.
Yay.
It's very hard to choose just one, but I'm going to go Say You'll Be There.
Oh, I love that one. Okay,
good.
great. Excellent choice.
Thank you.
That was Talk 90s to Me featuring Polly Hudson, whose brilliant columns in The Guardian are a delight to read and often form part of our sister podcast, The Hot Take Time Machine, because we enjoy them so much. Oh. And you also have a Substack, right, Polly? Where can people find it? Obviously on Substack, but how can they find it?
Yeah, it's called Shrink Wrapped.
Yes, and
it is an increasingly occasional series.
That's good. It's always good, though. Make people wait for it. That's what I think. Okay, if you join our Patreon, not only will you get the chance to buy some cute merch, such as Talk 90s to Me mugs, T-shirts, bucket hats, you'll also get some special episodes about stuff I like from the 90s, and you might become our Talk 90s king or queen for a week. Anyway, even if you don't join our Patreon, subscribe to us on your podcast app, follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky, DM us on there, leave us a voice note about festivals. We're Talk 90s to Me pod. We definitely want to know about your festival hoo-ha, so please get in touch that way. Our email is, of course, talk90s to me@podmasters.co.uk. You can try us there too. See you next week.